Glue Wednesday. You see, it's my belief that we don't have to get over. We need to find ways to keep it together. And my glue is G.L.U.E. God's love undoes everything, because that's what keeps it together. That life is about going from one puzzle to the next. You're either a small, medium, or large piece of each puzzle in your family, social, or business relationships. Yet, no matter what size puzzle piece you think you are, without you, the puzzle is labeled as incomplete. Welcome to Glue Wednesday. I'm Sporty King. Here I celebrate the fact that though some will call Wednesday hump day, I look at Wednesday as the middle day of a traditional seven-day week, but that keeps the beginning and the end together. So I look at Wednesday not as a hump day, but as the glue that keeps the week together. And then what I also say is that glue is G.L.U.E. God's love undoes everything. So we don't have the need to hump. We don't need to get over. We need to glue. We need to keep it together. So welcome to Glue Wednesday. You'll see me here every Wednesday on the Wake Up Call Radio and TV network. At least that's when the show airs first on like Facebook and then YouTube later in the week. We're going to be on Access TV, on podcast. It's great to see the growth in the network. But I've got a message for you today. Look, a couple of weeks ago, I introduced the topic silent joy, and then I let it evolve until where joy was J-O-Y, just one you. Reminding you, when we think about the cliches in life where people say, well, there's nobody else like you. That's one of the cliches that I actually like and believe. There really is no one else like you. So are you celebrating the uniqueness of you? Then we've got people who make jokes about who make a cliche of the cliche, and they say, yeah, you're unique, just like everybody else, which gives the connotation that there's really no such thing as being unique. And P.S., by the way, that's almost somewhat true. But let me say it's not true. What the repeat is, what made me think for a second is that you'll find in the Bible, but you'll also hear it in people saying there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is a remix of something in the past. So in some ways, we, as unique as we are mirroring somebody. And sometimes we may not always get to see that person, and there may be that little thing that makes it just a little bit different. But the things in our lives are not new. So that's why one of the things that I do is deliver a message that helps people start to find ways to stay powerful and positive when positive doesn't seem like an option. Because there's so many things that are going on in our lives that we sometimes lose sight of who we are, and that's how we can lose sight of the joy. J-O-Y, just one you. But when I gave that broadcast, and I called it silent joy, because your celebration of yourself is internal. It's what you do in your spirit that makes all the difference in the world, because then that will now come outside and help people see you in the society, in the world that we live in. But they see who the real you is depending on what you decide to show. But I open that message by stating that sometimes it's hard to accept our personal power. So see, sometimes it's hard to accept our personal power because someone else will put a tag on it and label you as being arrogant because you know who you are, when it really is just your self-confidence. So what we do is we find ways to be publicly humble, and then we use that cliche that you have to be humble. But I say I'm humble to God. I'm not humble to man, because man is who I am. So I'm not interested in being humble to somebody, because there's a fine line, and I don't want my message to be so convoluted and broad that it sounds like I'm trying to pull too many people in. But I know how humble I am. How humble someone else thinks I am, that's where I think you need to draw the line. You have to know how humble you are. Someone else, their definition of what humility should be does not necessarily have to be yours. One of my idols is Muhammad Ali. And it's so funny because in our generation, especially with our younger people, see, they met him as Muhammad Ali, the greatest. I met him as Cassius Clay, the draft dodger. Okay, so so I met him when he was a person who talked about his greatness, and there were so many people that didn't like the fact that he talked about how good he was, because they didn't feel that was being humble. But he was being totally humble, because he said, my humility is to God, not to man. And what he was doing was really promoting fights, building up his ego. But he was just as docile as he could be. That was one of the reasons he ended up not going into the army. And that was part of what, legal challenges that he went through for not going into the army, where they stripped his title and everything. So if he was not humble, then how come he took that stand to say, well, this is what I'm going to do because I'm humble enough to be who I am. Do you see how you can be humble enough to be who you are? And that's what makes a difference. I'm a little off track here, but that's also why, what somebody said, well, Sporty, sometimes you look like you read, and I say, yeah, because if I don't go what I write down on my message, I go into another place. That ain't always bad either, by the way. Sometimes I really don't deliver the whole message that I prepare, but I deliver enough of the nucleus of it to make a difference. But I really like to, I've been in the speaking business 24 years now, and a lot of times people will say, you just want to speak from the heart. No. I want to write from the heart, and then I speak from experience. See, write your message down and get it clear of what you want to get across. Because when you speak from the heart, sometimes you get emotional and you lose track, and then you don't deliver what you need to deliver to the people. So write from the heart and then speak from your experience. Think about that one. So let's go back to that message where we said sometimes it's hard for us to accept our personal power. So what we do is we source it out to somebody else's opinion. And we'll see that on Facebook a lot, where on the posts where we shift the responsibility for our actions to popular opinion, where we poll in the audience, dial a friend, right? What do y'all think about this hairstyle? What do y'all think about how I'm doing stuff? And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. We do want to seek help and advice every now and then, but I always want to remind people that we have to recognize what we're doing and then choose our messengers carefully. After you get the input, then you decide who you're going to follow and who you're going to listen to, but more importantly, what you're going to do. And you want to make sure that the outcome of what you decide to do is something you can live with and not regret. So one of the things I did with that message was I gave an assignment. I gave an assignment to you. If you were with me on that broadcast, you may remember. And the assignment was to post right here on Facebook or YouTube, however you might be watching it. But if you're not watching it, if you're on a podcast or on Access TV, etc., email me and send me a message at sk@sportyking.com and tell me what you celebrate about yourself. So post it right now as you're as you're watching the broadcast. But if you're not watching it, email me and tell me what you celebrate about yourself so I can share that with other people. Due to a mechanical glitch, I ended up only being able to save 2 of the responses. So if you were one of the people that responded, would you please do it again so I can bring it in on another show and get you a shout out? So I'm going to give you the two responses that I did receive, but what I'm going to do is now I'm going to tie their responses into my topic of the week. And my topic of the week is no. Okay? Now, with my literary lesson, I always have a literary lesson for you as well. One of my literary lessons is control your vocabulary. Don't let your vocabulary control you. So I would bet that the majority of you on this broadcast, when you heard the word no, you spelled it N-O. And I'm going to say to you that that's just fine, but I'm going to help us deal with no as what it actually is. No, N-O is actually the nucleus of K-N-O-W. You can't have knowledge if you don't have no in the middle sometimes. So it's okay that you heard N-O, but I want you to start to learn to hear K-N-O-W, and you'll see why, because I'm going to wrap that topic into a background message of what do you hear? So when someone says no, what do you hear? And the reason I wanted to have that conversation with you is to take you back to a story. I'm on a contract right now with the military where I do weekend seminars for service and family members going through the deployment cycle. Well, years ago, at the end of a speaking engagement, I had a conversation with one of the meeting planners. His name is Eric Harris. And Eric was in charge of the Naval Reserve, the naval reservists who I was working with that weekend. And so I want to give you, after I did my seminars, he sat down and gave me his feedback. Now, part of the beauty of the memory for me is the fact that I was a last-minute speaker replacing another speaker. They called me on Monday and said, "Can you be in Pittsburgh on Friday?" So I had to put these 3 presentations together between Monday and Thursday to be there on Friday to start delivering them. And I did pretty good with them. I was successful, but they fell short in several places. And Eric clearly let me know what some of my misses were, as well as some of the hits. And I won't give you the details because I don't remember them all, other than the fact that, one, there were more misses than there were hits. And two, what I remembered hearing the most out of everything that he said, because he said, "Well, look, my people need this, and you didn't deliver that, and you didn't deliver this, and next time you want to do this, and I don't think you did this, but next time I want you to get this." The thing I heard the most was, "Next time." That's what I heard him saying, "Next time." You see, how often do we brace ourselves for feedback with fear, and then bolster that fear by focusing on the mistakes and absorbing the failure of the situation, instead of looking forward to the feedback with an open mind and bolstering that openness by celebrating the positives that we won't have to recreate as we make the adjustments to the marks that we did make. You got that? So don't get caught up in, "Oh my God, I don't want the feedback. What are they going to say? What didn't I get right?" I'm looking forward to the feedback because I want to know what I got right. And then you could tell me what I didn't get the way you wanted it. So now I can at least get this part that I got right. I can get that out of the way. And I can focus on refining and chiseling what I need to chisel. I'm looking forward to delivering what's needed. So again, there's the humility. I don't need to be, "Well, hey, excuse me, I'm Sporty King and I delivered the message. You better get it." I'm like, "No, I delivered the message." Did that work for you? Start to hear what the speakers say. Start to listen to the pastors. Start to listen to the teachers. Start to listen to your coaches. What they're trying to find out is, how can I make this work for you? How can I get the most out of you so that it can benefit you? And once it benefits you, then I'll be glad to get the part of that you that benefits me. It still comes back to joy, just one you. So you got to make sure that you get that. So what do you hear? See, all I heard was "next time." And that's what turned me on. How often do we hear, "No, you won't get another chance," instead of, "I know that when you get another chance, you'll be more successful." Hear "no" as the nucleus of KNOW. So don't hear "no, you won't get another chance," N-O. Hear KNOW. Know that you will get another chance and you're going to do difference. So what do you hear? Look, staying positive helps you embrace N-O as the nucleus of KNOW and see yourself in the light that allows you to shine your brightest. The one that says the better you know who you are, the better you'll be at hearing yourself and hear your blessing of knowing who you are. And that's something to celebrate. When you can hear the blessing of knowing who you are, that's something to celebrate. So now tying that in, my thanks go out to Tony Anyango, who sent in her comment about what she celebrates about herself. She wrote, "I celebrate my ability to love myself and know that my value is priceless." Tony, remember that liking yourself is also the bonus. Not just loving yourself, but liking yourself. And so I use your comment to help others embrace my acronym SELF, S-E-L-F, self-esteem, love's foundation. Once you like yourself, loving yourself becomes a wonderful byproduct and a lot easier. Now, inside scoop, Tony is my girlfriend. and has to deal with my traveling, my extroverted personality, my sense of humor, my good spirit, okay? So it's important for her self-esteem and confidence has to be a good fit for me. So, you know, because she knows who she is, it helps me maintain being who I am. And then it leads to our celebration of one another and the value in our relationship. So don't you, again, you see, when you celebrate who you are, you bring value not only to who you are, but also to the relationships that you involve yourself with, because you're always going to be in a relationship. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend, girlfriend. You're in a relationship with everyone that comes into your life, your classmates, your teammates, your family, your workmates. You're always in a relationship. The places where you shop, where you patronize, that's a relationship. Your barber, your hairstylist. I can run on and on, but don't you start to see that there's all these relationships that you're in, and depending on how you feel about yourself, it impacts that relationship. So Tony, I use her, but for you to remember, love yourself, but like yourself even more. Self-esteem loves foundation. And then my second one that I was able to recoup was from Terry Love, my homegirl, she wrote, "Sporty, wow, that was real food for thoughts. Real good food for my thoughts. Thank you for your words of encouragement. My silent joy is sewing, and I'm in the process of pursuing my dream of becoming a fashion designer and illustrator because I know that that's where my piece of the puzzle lies for me. I love you." Terry, I remind and thank you for believing in yourself, and just as I see know and O as the nucleus of KNOW, see yourself as the center of your dream, and know that your puzzle, that your pace and your patience is never off track. Your pace and your patience is never off track. When you look at the puzzle that you're a part of, if you see yourself as the middle piece of the puzzle, know that the middle piece of the puzzle is the one that waits for the corners and the surroundings to lock in their support. So that's why you always need to know that your pace and your patience is never off. What you need to focus on and find out is, what size puzzle piece are you dealing with? Is it a puzzle that's 1,000 pieces? Is it a 500-piece puzzle? But more importantly, is it a life puzzle? LIFE is the acronym I want to add for you. Lessons intended for everyone. That's the puzzle that you want to put together. And so your patience comes from knowing where you stand in the puzzle. And if it's your puzzle, guess where you stand? You're the nucleus. You stand in the middle. So you have to be patient with yourself and wait for yourself to evolve and let everything around you start to come together. And it will. And you'll see, haven't you put together a puzzle and you just knew this piece went there, and then it didn't. It looked like the right color, but it didn't work. Or sometimes it even fit in the groove, but then it was just a little bit off and it couldn't connect to another one. You had to take it out. See, that's what life is all about. Now, on Saturday, April 21st, I got a chance to celebrate myself as being the District 37 Division B Toastmaster International Speech Contest champion. So I brought my trophy along as a way to show that this is one of the things that I do to celebrate myself. And I'm halfway to the championship. It's the contest is called the World Championship of Public Speaking. It's an annual contest in Toastmasters International. To get to the World Championship, to win the World Championship, you have to win at your club, your area, your division, your district, and the semifinals and the finals. So there's six legs and 6 rounds. I finished 3 rounds. So on May 5th, I get the chance to compete in round number 4 to win the district competition. And after that, then I'll go to the semifinals in August. The semifinals are August 22nd and the finals are August 24th. And I have every intention of being there, sitting in the row of the contestants, waiting my turn to go on stage and deliver that message. So, you know, that's what I celebrate about myself. But I can celebrate it that way with someone, again, may think that that's arrogant and brash. But one of the things that I explain to my club is I say, look, when you compete to win. When you don't win, now you can talk humbly about the journey. If that's what people want to hear you know, oh, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I'm hoping that I go and win. No, I'm going to say I have every intention to win, because you don't get on stage trying to just be, you get up there doing your best to win. And then after the contest is over, you evaluate how you did, and then the judges evaluate what they saw. But the thing is, it still becomes about you, where you're thinking about, well, did I deliver my message? See, because you're not always going to get the crown. You're not going to be crowned as the champion. So what's important? Did you deliver your message? And see, that's what's important to me, is whether or not I deliver my message. And if I deliver my message the best that I can, I tend to think that that's going to make me a winner. Now, if there's something that someone sees that they decide, well, you know what, that was a good message, but this other person had a better message, you know what I do? I applaud the better message. Because the key is each one of us has a message, J-O-Y, just one you. Each one of us has a message that needs to be delivered. On any given day, your message is more necessary than mine, and vice versa. So there's no need to have any kind of angst or anger, and you know, people are all this bitter competition. I don't do that. I'm delivering my message, and I want to make sure I put the package around it the best way it can. So if I deliver my message, I'm always going to be a winner. Whether or not I get crowned a champion really doesn't matter when it comes down to that. But I probably get crowned a champion, because the other thing that I celebrate is my faith. And see, I celebrate my faith. People tend to talk about faith being important to success, but then they turn around and they equate success to money. And monetary success is supposed to be a subset of success, because it's a type of success. Success is not the subset of monetary success, okay? So my faith is, you know, my faith is always pushing toward me being successful, because I define what my success looks like. And when I tell someone, for instance, when I tell people that I've been in business now for 24 years, a lot of times their minds start calculating how much money I've won and spent, and how much money is going through my hands and this and that. And see, what they don't realize is that they have become impressed with a mental picture of how much money I made, which is their definition of success, and I must be making more money and more money and more money. But what they don't realize is how many months I've chosen which bills to pay, how many months I've chosen to eat crackers and soup as my main meal. They don't know how I've prayed and asked God if I was on the right track or being too stubborn to go back. See, they don't know the sacrifices that I have been willing to make to get where I have to go. And no one knows what sacrifices you have made to get where you are. But what do you hear? See, what do you hear? Do you hear next time? Because you're always going to get another chance to be you. Every day, that's one thing that you will constantly get, is another chance to be you. And you can either be you again, or you can be somebody else. P.S. by the way, you can't be somebody else. You can be another stage of who you are. And which way that stage is going is up to you. And so I may make it look easy, but that's because it's hard. It's hard being you. And so what you have to do is, when you say easy, for me easy is E-A-S-Y. Expect angels to save you. That's why I make it look easy, because of my faith is so strong that you won't see me crying and kicking and screaming about what's going on in my life. No, I'm just like, wow, God, you just took all my money away. And really when I have to say, wow, God, I just spent all my money. I had the car the car repossessed. I didn't pay my bills and got my house taken to the foreclosure. I put myself in a situation where I had to go through the bankruptcy. Yeah, those are all things that I've done. Where in that picture was I supposed to get angry with God when He had put me in position to have those things? And where do I get mad with God when He takes someone from my life, whether it's through death or through the end of a relationship? Why do I have to get mad at God for something that was already on the books? It was already guaranteed that this person or this thing was not going to be in your life forever, based on either the erosion, evolution, separation, anger, situation. You don't know. The only thing that you're promised is that when you wake up, you get to say good morning, or maybe good night. I don't know. It's that's why I keep to the notes, because I got the thoughts that can get too poetic sometimes. So let's get back to the notes and close this thing out, okay? Make sure that you pray. Easy as EASY, expects angels to save you. Pray and get out of the way. Once you say a prayer, it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen. When you say, God, save me from this, you can't say, and this is how I want you to save me, and this is what that Savior is going to look like. All you have to do is pray and get out of the way, and do like Terry did. Have that patience, because you may be the middle piece of the puzzle. So you got to wait for it all to come together. So I'll start to close out this glue with some examples of prayers being answered. Now, one of the things I do is in reading the Bible is that I find ways to separate and categorize Scripture for when I need to go within and give thanks. You've got to come up with your own formula. But here's some examples, some samples of familiar names from the Bible who didn't know that they would be celebrated one day, as I'm telling you to do. And I have them under a category called Who Am I? And in parentheses, Am I Worthy? Moses in Exodus 3:11 said, But who am I to appear before Pharaoh? 2 Samuel 7:18. Then King David went in and sat before the Lord and prayed, Who am I, O sovereign Lord? And what is my family that you have brought me this far? Jeremiah 1:6. O sovereign Lord, I said, I can't speak for you. I'm too young. Now, even if you don't know Jeremiah, he might not be one of the most popular names in the Bible, but I wanted to add this one to make the point that age has nothing to do with the magnitude of your blessing. Okay? And then that's in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, Ephesians 3:8, Paul wrote the book of Ephesians, if you know Paul, and he said, just think, though I did nothing to deserve it, and though I am the least deserving Christian there is, I was chosen for this special joy of telling the Gentiles about the endless treasures available to them in Christ. You know what? You are Paul. You are somebody's messenger. As you celebrate who you are, you allow someone to believe that they can celebrate who they are. Knowing and celebrating yourself with silent joy is part of the essence of motivation. You see, no one can really motivate you. They can only inspire you. You have to motivate yourself. And you have to do that according to what you've experienced in the last 24 hours that has allowed you to make the decision to use the inspiration to push you, the inspirational push that you really needed and have been waiting for so long that you didn't even know it. And you didn't know that it was what it would take for you to do what you had to do. And that's also why it's important to choose your messengers carefully and know that you're somebody's messenger. The people you surround yourself with will impact your experiences and your decisions. So 3 things. 1, surround yourself with yourself. You've got to be your #1 fan. You're the only person who has seen and done everything you've seen and done and will still stay with you until the day you die. 2, ask what you celebrate about yourself. And please share it in the comments right here if you're on Facebook, on YouTube. Email me if you're on one of our other outlets at sk@sportyking.com. And 3, share your gift. You touch a lot of lives and make a huge difference. The domino effect needs you. And so recognize that this is the type of message that I'd love to deliver to you and your group live and in person. So take a look at my site at sportyking.com, and remember that life is about going from one puzzle to the next. You're either a small, medium, or large piece of the puzzle in all of your business, family, and social relationships. Yet no matter what size puzzle piece you see yourself as, without you, the puzzle is incomplete. This has been Glue Wednesday. I'll be back next week, and I'm going to still be Sporty King. I hope you will still be you, because we make a difference. God bless you, and let's go on and win that world championship.